Okay, hi, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're your first time here. This is gonna be my Truly Devious vlog, and I have to admit, I'm actually editing May because my first clip had no sound at all. And there's no going backsies because I didn't realize until after I had already finished the book and went to go edit those clips. I can't talk about my feelings about the book when I've already finished it, and I can't, take that back. So this is really awkward. But yeah, so the next clip's gonna be me talking about the book 50% in of the way. So I just want to say sorry. I'll do better. I'm a mess, but I hope you enjoy this video. This is gonna be quite a long one. I'm gonna be talking about all three books of the original trilogy in this vlog. All of it's gonna be here, baby. Thoughts for the first one, thoughts for the second one, thoughts on the third one. It's all gonna be here. I'm taking you through I'm gonna talk about it when I start the book, other than this first time because I screwed it up. I'll talk about when I get it 50%, and I'll talk about when I actually finish the book. And this will be spoilers, so be prepared. If you want to read this series, then you might not want to listen to certain parts. And I will be honest, I do not plan on reading the rest of the series at all. I have no desire. I haven't even read them yet, and I don't care. I simply have no desire to read like an 8-book mystery series. I have been told by multiple people that the main storyline gets wrapped up in the first 3 books. Those are the ones I'm reading. So unless these really knock me out the freaking park, I have no desire to pick up the other ones. So that's why you're not going to see the rest of them in this video. That's why you're not going to see me read the rest of them in another video. This video is just for the first 3, and maybe the only 3 that I read by this author. But I'm sorry again that you don't get my original initial thoughts with the picking out clips and stuff. But I will say that you do see me show off my annotation tabs for the rest of the books. So sorry, I'll do better. Let's go to it. Hi everyone, it is July 10th. I just got to about 60% into Truly Devious. I was reading to like a certain point, that's why a little bit above 50%. So far I'm liking it, and I do have lots of clues and predictions and guesses, but I don't think I'm right. First of all, David is suspicious as heck to me. I just feel like he is not a good person, and after this is spoiler alerts. This whole video is going to be spoilers if you weren't aware of that. It's going to be in the title, but if you weren't aware of that, this is definitely about to be spoiler alerts. I figured that someone was going to die because I just felt like that makes sense. You know, usually when you have like a book talking about a murder that happened years ago, that when someone starts to like bring it up again, there's like a copycat or there's some kind of murdering that starts happening again. But I was hoping it was David. I was not prepared for it to be Hayes. I don't like David at all. The fact of the matter is, she literally found Hayes' dead body, went back to her room, and then started making out with David. Girly pop. Girly pop, what are we doing? And I don't think the main character is being as observant as I want her to be, because she's supposed to be like really into crime, but there's things that I've picked on that she's like let slide or like really haven't investigated very much into. Like, for example, one of the characters' ID cards goes missing for a day, and then that night someone breaks into her room and like puts a projector on the screen of a new riddle saying that someone's gonna die, and the detective is now here and now it's time to play. And then next day her friend finds her ID card again, just like on the path, and it's like, and she's like, oh well, problem solved. I mean, I'm sorry, girly pop, I'm sorry, you're not gonna like think more into that. I also feel like there's been a couple of things said where I'm like, could that be a clue? Like, we find out that the dad, the headmister who died, that was connected to like his daughter is the one, his daughter and his wife were the one that got kidnapped. He later on builds an exact replica of their house. And it's like, I was like, can they use that replica to like maybe find secret passageways and stuff? Because if it's an exact replica of the house, then shouldn't it have the secret passageways? But that's not, I don't know how true that might be, but she didn't even like think about that. And I'm like, girly pop, you're supposed to be really into crime. You're supposed to be like wanna-be detective. You're supposed to like wanna like be you're supposed to wanting to be solving the mystery. And at this point, I have no idea how she can be solving this murder when she can't even like pay attention to things happening around her currently. And I don't know, I'm liking it. It's not a 5-star for me, but it right now is like a 4-star. I'll be finishing it tomorrow. And I'm wondering if it's even going to be solved in this book, or if you have to wait the 3 books to figure it out, because I'm already 60% in, and they just had someone else die, and she just got through the tunnel, like seeing the tunnel, obviously. And I feel like there's so much more that needs to be discovered, so I'm wondering if this is going to end on a cliffhanger, or like what might happen, because I don't feel like it's gonna get solved in book one, or obviously there wouldn't be a whole other books if that was, you know, the case. But I don't know, this is my little update for you guys. I'm really liking it, and I've been tabbing, got mostly blues and oranges, and I've been putting in my buddy read and stuff, like my theories about what I'm thinking so far, to keep track to see if I was right or not. So far, I don't know if I'm right, because I'm like, nothing's really happening yet. We're just getting like little tidbits and stuff. But David is definitely suspicious to me. But if there's one thing that I've learned from reading mystery and thriller books, that it's not typically the person that you think it is. Like, David would be like the obvious person to me. So it's probably not David. Um, I don't know. Like, Nate is really quiet. I don't know who I could think. I don't know who seems guilty or who seems suspicious to me. Um, but now that someone else is dead, it must be someone alive at this current time. Obviously, when she was just investigating the original murder, we couldn't like really think of anyone that we were talking to, because it's like, oh, well, this happened in like 1940. Like, obviously, that murderer is probably dead. But now that someone else just died, it's either a copycat or one of their relatives must be doing it, or they must be really fucking old doing it. I don't know. We will have to see. I'm really itching to finish this. I only have 145 pages left in the book. So definitely be doing another check-in tomorrow to let you guys know my review and all that. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Okay, hi. I just finished Truly Devious. And now I'm here to discuss all my thoughts. I'll be talking about this in a couple different videos, but this is like the main video, so I'm gonna give you everything. So spoilers, obviously. I think before I can tell you how I'm rating this, I need to go over how I rate thriller and mystery books just overall. I do not rate thriller and mysteries in the same way that I rate any other genre. Like fantasy, sci-fi, romance, contemporary. I rate all those based off my enjoyment and like understanding of them. And for thriller and mystery, I rate based off of how well the author did setting up the reveal, or like was it too easy to figure out, did it come out of the blue. To me, a good thriller slash mystery is when an author gives you clues but not enough to make you figure it out right away, but you're kind of figuring it out with the character, and you might figure it out right before they do, but you don't like, it's not like a complete bombshell shock when they say the big reveal. But I also don't like when it's like 50 pages in, you're like, I've already done figured it out. I don't like that either. So for me to give a thriller or a mystery a 5-star, it has to have been wrote very well, and I don't think this was. This is not a bad book, in my opinion. I just don't like how things were set up. The main character, like I was saying in my first clip, the main character is really into crime. She's really into like figuring out mysteries. And to me, that prepared me, like in my brain, I was like, she must be very observant. She must be very analytical. She must be like very into like seeing things and unraveling what's there. There was so many things that was mentioned in this book that the main character did not pick up on until like 75% into the book. Like, I had already picked up on those things. I already wrote them as clues, already wrote them as predictions, and the main character simply did not see the things that I did until almost 100 pages left in the book. And then in the last 100 pages, she suddenly was just like actually solving the crime, actually talking about the things that she had noticed. Like, I mentioned the ID card, but there was a couple other things, like she was told that someone made a video, but she never questioned it, but then the ex-girlfriend was saying that they didn't, and she was like, oh, well, she must just be a crazy ex-girlfriend. And I was like, maybe the ex-girlfriend is being right. And we find out that the ex-girlfriend was being right, that like Hayes was not a good person, like he was pretty much using people to do all his work. And we're made to believe that it wasn't a murder, it was an accident, that he got onto dry ice, like there was dry ice in the tunnel, and that's how he got killed. And I knew that story didn't make any freaking sense. I was like, for a man who doesn't do any of his own work, I simply don't believe that he went into a tunnel by himself to record some stuff for the movie. I don't believe it. I don't believe it at all. So I already knew that someone set him up. I think he was trying to meet someone there, or maybe he had a reason to go back, but it wasn't to do any work. And very close to the end, we find out that it wasn't a accident. It was set up because he couldn't possibly have used the ID card because he was on FaceTime with his girlfriend, and there's proof of it. It was, well, it's not girlfriend, but like someone that he was seeing on the side and whatever that like that. There's proof of them calling, and it would have been the same time the ID card would have been used, and it wasn't possible that way. And my big hiccup with this book is that it makes out these two characters to be very suspicious. You're very suspicious against Hayes and David. Very suspicious for most of the book. And then all of a sudden at the very end, like last 30 pages, the author made the person that was like connected to it be like this random person that you never would have saw coming. And I don't like that. I don't like when they just like make it be some random person and there was no clues leading up to it all. Because the whole point of an author giving you clues is so that you can work it out with them. If you're giving them clues, making it think that it was, we don't know who still did it because it ends on a cliffhanger. But like, I just want to say an example. Like, if you're an author and you gave me all the clues to make me think that David was the one that killed Hayes, I'm just using David as an example. And then for 350 pages, say, you gave me all these clues to make me think that it was David, and then in the last 30 to 40 pages, it's all of a sudden someone else, and there's no clues connected to it. It's just like a reveal, like, oh, yeah, I hated him, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, what? Like, I don't like that, and that's why I can't give this book a 5-star. I'm gonna be giving this a 4, because I do like the concept of it. I don't like the characters. I think they're fucking idiots. And the nicest way possible, not to be mean, I think they're fucking idiots. All of them. Like, not just the main character, I think all of them are idiots in their own way. And it was just driving me absolutely bonkers. I wanted to throw my book across the room multiple times. I wanted to beat them with this book multiple times and be like, what is wrong with you? Why are you not seeing these things that are happening right in front of you? And yeah, like, I did annotate quite a bit of like things that were clues or suspense or predictions. And like, I'm the reader. Like, I wasn't even supposed to be doing all this work. The main characters were supposed to be doing all this work, and they like barely did anything. And I talked to my friend that's read this, who gave me this book as a Christmas gift, and she was saying very similarly, like, that the book angered her, but like she kept reading because of like the actual concept, the actual premise, because she wanted to know what the mystery ended up actually being, because it ends on a cliffhanger. We don't solve the 1940 mystery, and we also don't solve who killed Hayes. We don't solve either of those. We find out that Ellie was like, we don't know if she killed Hayes, but we know that she had a reason to be angry with him because she helped him make the movie, even though he swore that he made it all up. We find out that he actually made it at the school before they even left for summer, and she was involved with it. And he is the reason why she even got the money for her saxophone. Like, it was $500. $500 is what he asked his ex-girlfriend for. So she's connected somehow to this Hayes storyline. It ends with us finding that out, and then she pretty much runs away. And then it's like, to be continued. And then, really, the truly last thing that we learn is that David was a piece of shit. Because David was like, my parents are like gardeners and farmers. And then she's like, doesn't make any sense, you're rich. And then he's like, my parents are dead. And then the very last line, we find out that his parent is actually Edward King, who her parents work for. And she doesn't like because he's a racist and a bad person. And then, Lord and behold, David is their son. Well, that makes a lot of sense about David's personality, doesn't it? David is also... I don't like David at all. And he was like... He helped get her parents a job, like a higher-up job, to keep her there. Can I just say something that's, like, totally not related to my review of this book? I don't know if I have really protective parents or what, but I'm telling you what. If someone got killed at my school... There would have been nothing that anyone could have said that would have kept my parents from coming and getting me. Like, her parents show up, but then David talks them out of taking her out of the school. Nothing. The president of the United States could have told them that I had to have stayed, and my parents would not have cared. Jesus Christ could have came down from heaven and been like, May has to stay at the school, and my parents would have been like, no, absolutely not. They're coming home. Her parents put in, like, maybe 5% effort on did you not? Someone's dead, and accidents happen, but this is a very suspicious situation, and her parents are just like, oh, well, you have a boyfriend that's hot, and we'll take care of you. We can just leave you there. Like, we're gonna be busy, with our new jobs. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, that makes no sense at all. Like, my parents would have moved heaven and hell to get me back home if someone died at my school. Even if it was an accident, my parents would not have cared. My parents would have been like, we're getting the heebie jeebies, we're getting the hell out. I just think it's so wild that her parents didn't put much more effort into it, and they were so easily swayed by David, who isn't actually even a good person in my opinion. Like, he lied so much throughout this book. Like, if he ended up being the actual killer, I would believe it, because he lied so much. Like, she caught him in so many lies, and yet they still made out. I'm sorry. Enemies to lovers, or are you just confused? Like, I don't know. And I just feel like it's not a bad book. I do the whole mystery of like his wife and kid getting kidnapped, and like it's having like other ties into it, like there being that one student who also died the same night, and the two bodies have emerged, but Alice never emerged, like their body was never found, and he thinks that Alice is going to come back one day. It'd be one hell of a plot twist if Alice is still somehow alive, because 1940, how my grandma was born in 1945 and she's still alive, so Alice could still be very much alive. You know how one hell of a plot twist it would be if Alice is just like an 80-year-old woman and is alive and just didn't come back because she was like, no, screw it, I'm out of the situation. That would be one heck of a plot twist. I don't know why my camera is like not focusing well with light, but ignore that, please. Um, my my ceiling light starts to dim like after so long, like it's not a very good light. I could change the light bulb and then it just starts slowly going out. So that's what I'm currently dealing with. So like my light is never the same. It gets dimmer and dimmer each day. But yeah, I just the structure of it is sound. I think it'll be a really really good series. But the moving parts right now don't make sense, and the reveal at the end of this book just came out of nowhere, and I was like, I don't mind being proven wrong. I think a good premise of a thriller and mystery is that you should be able to figure it out along with the character, and I wasn't figuring it out with the character. She came out of the fucking, I don't even know where she got the information that she got, because I wasn't even, I was like, what? All I knew about Ellie was that she played a saxophone and liked to take baths and fully clothed and drank. So how she unraveled that she was connected with Hayes, I was like, girly pop, that makes no sense at all. No sense. So I don't know where that came from, but I will be reading the rest of these books, and they will be in this vlog, but I'll be getting to them in about a week and a half. I have some other books to read first, but this is the overall review of Truly Devious with spoilers. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will see you guys when I start the second one. And hopefully it goes better for me. Oh, did I even say I was giving this? I'm giving this a 4. I'm giving this a 4 because I like the plot. Characters, I hope, are better, because I swear I would snatch you guys up and knock some sense into you if I could. It is July 15th, and I am starting the Truly Devious Book 2, which is The Vanishing Stair. I am also annotating this one, and I've already kind of started, but I haven't read very much, like maybe 20 pages. These are my tabs for the book. Got some reds, got some blues, and so far, I'm intrigued even more, because in the 20 pages that I've read, some interesting things have already happened, but I just want to let you guys know that I'm starting it, and I am aiming it to finish it in less than 3 days. We'll be reading about like 150 pages, so I'm gonna make it close to 50%, but not quite. But very excited. I hope I like this one more than the first one, because the first one was just very immature in a lot of aspects, and I'm hoping that the actual mystery, trying to figure things out, really ramps up in this one, so that I can get even more intrigued, because I'm reading this for the mystery, not like the teenage feelings and emotions and relationships. I don't care about any of that. I'm here for the story. I want to know who done it. That's all I care about. So hopefully it actually picks up in this one, and I'm hoping to give this one a higher rating than the first one. So we'll have to see. But that's the progress so far, and I will check in tomorrow when I actually get to 50%. Okay, it is July 17th, and I just got a little bit over 50% of the second book, The Vanishing Stair. I like this one much better than the first one. I don't know if it's because I already know the characters and I know some of the plot already, so it feels easier to get into, but this one's going a lot better, and I have tabbed quite a bit of things. And my hope for this one was that we get more of the mystery, because I feel like so much of the first book was just setting things up, and we have gotten more of the mystery in this, and unfortunately, someone just died. Well, might have already been died. And I did in fact guess it. But I'm not mad that I guessed it because I feel like the clue was there. And I think the main character was also picking up on the clue, but they didn't really know for sure. So we just found out that Ellie died in the tunnels. And I guessed it probably 50 pages ago. I was like, what if she never left the tunnels? But I thought she was still alive. I did not guess that she died. I guessed that maybe she was hiding out in the tunnels and that she was like going back and forth, like maybe like because I know in the very beginning of the book it says that the tunnel that is in the house is by the kitchen. So I thought maybe she was going up at night getting food and stuff, and she was just camping out in the tunnel because I was like, there's no way that she made it off that mountain by herself, and there's no way that she really did this crime by herself at all. And I was correct. She was in the tunnel, but she suffocated apparently. And I just put down that was something that was suspicious is that the Larry, the security guy, he says she went in, something blocked her way out. Something blocked her way out. So I don't think that she got killed accidentally. I think she got murdered again. I think that someone is definitely murdering these students. For what reason? I don't know why. Maybe because they're getting too close to the truth and they don't want the truth to come out. But I did guess that she was in the tunnels. But I didn't realize that she was gonna be like, I don't understand the paper bag thing at all, like the plastic bag thing, like because the way that Stevie found her was because when they went down in the tunnel, one of the tunnels had like plastic bag ripped up, and it was like a path of it. I'm not really too sure what the hell that means yet. That doesn't really make sense to me, unless she wanted to be able to recount her steps to go up and down. But maybe they didn't work out because she got stuck down there somehow. Maybe it's because the door wouldn't budge. And maybe that you couldn't go back. But she should have been able to go back up. So if both places were stuck, that means they were stuck on purpose. Because obviously we know that the one that goes in the staircase, it hasn't been used in a really long time. So it literally had to be pounded on. But she should have been able to come back the way that she came. But she couldn't for some odd reason. So I do think that that is suspicious, and I did take note of that. But yeah, it's sitting at like a 4.5 right now. Like it's really much better. The main characters are a lot less oblivious in this. I do think that like Stevie, she kind of had a thought that maybe she hadn't escaped the tunnels. She hadn't gotten a fall long enough in that thinking as I did, because I was like so sure that she was still in the tunnels. But Stevie got like started on that pathway. But poor David, man. But yeah, I'm about 56% in the way because I did have to finish the chapter that I was on. And I'll be finishing this tomorrow. I'm going to read about 70 more pages to get to my daily goal, and that will take me to about chapter 20. And I'll have about 70 pages left for tomorrow, and then I'll start the third one tomorrow as well. And hopefully by the end of this weekend, I have finished this series and we can move along to Scallywagathon. But yeah, I do wish that the character that is non-binary, that used they, them pronouns, I wish they were a bigger part of this book. Because when I was told about this book, I was told that there was a character that used they, them pronouns, and I was really excited to just realize that it's just someone's partner. And, like, we barely get anything from them. And I do wish that they were a bigger part of the story. But yeah, that's all about, I do have the sleeve off because I always read with the sleeve because I hate the sleeves. This is all I have for that now. I will come back when I finish it tomorrow. It is July 18th, and I just finished The Vanishing Stair. And I annotated quite a bit of clues, and I actually like this way more than the first one. And this is gonna be this is for like my actual reading vlog, so I am gonna be giving spoilers. I'm sure you would know that already because this is probably gonna be pretty deep in this video, but I like this way more. There's way more mystery. There's way more clues. The characters aren't being annoying. Like the main character is actually being a detective. Like she's really smart in this book. I feel like you got enough clues to kind of know what was going to happen, but some of it was still surprising, and I like the balance of that. The first one I thought was a little bit unbelievable, but I thought what we got revealed in this one was very believable. We find out that the person that was behind the kidnapping of Iris and Alice is that it was George Marsh, the police officer, and I saw that coming a little bit because one, Dottie said that she recognized him. So I was like, it automatically had to have been someone that was on the property fairly often for her to have recognized them. And we get this whole story about how she calls police officers attic men because attics or police officers are in the attic, and if there's a two-story break-in, they jump down and capture the man. And when she gets ready to die, she highlights in the book about the attic part of the in the quote, and it took the principal, a really long time to understand what Dottie was saying, but he finally does. So he takes George out into the lake on a boat, thinking that it was going to be a nice, calm day, but he's actually taking him out there to interrogate him. And he's like, if you tell me where Alice is, I'll let you live. But if you don't tell me where Alice is, I'm going to blow us both up. Which I was like, okay, obviously he's going to find out where Alice is, but something else is going to happen so that they don't come home. But George, this is what really threw me. George refuses to tell him where Alice is because he's like, I'm going to be screwed either way. Like, if you let me go, I have to go to jail, and I'm not going to jail. And if I don't tell you, I'm going to die. And he's like, but I have the control if I don't tell you. So what he does is he lights a cigarette and blows him up anyways. Blows both of them up to keep the secret of Alice, because he says he does know where Alice is. But essentially what he says is that the kidnapping went wrong. Like, it wasn't supposed to be violent. No one was supposed to die. He essentially kidnapped them. Like, he hired people to kidnap them to get money for his debts, like his gambling debts. But the kidnappers that he hired pretty much went rogue and was like, we want more money and we'll kill them if we have to. And that was kind of crazy. I did not see that coming at all. But I did have my suspicions about the police officer. I did. But I do think that with the ending of this book, it's very clear that someone's trying to keep the truth hidden. And I think it's Edward King. I'm very suspicious of this man. I'm very, very suspicious of how he has his son there, and he says that he has these cameras and he wants Stevie to watch his son because he wants his son to be okay. But I think he's actually has those cameras to watch what's happening with Stevie and how far she's getting along with the story. Because at the end of the book, it's found out that the person that she was helping, the professor that she was helping, there was a fire in her house and she's dead, and her nephew that Stevie was talking to might also be dead, but also Ellie is dead. And like, so that means that potentially 3 people died in this book, and not by like accidents. Like, clearly at this point it seems planned. So someone wants the truth to be kept hidden, and I have my suspicions that it's Edward King, but I might be very wrong. Watch me be very, very wrong. But I'm giving this a 4.5. I actually really like this one, and I'm a little worried about the third one because I have been told some people don't like the third one because it doesn't seem realistic and it doesn't add up. So we're gonna see. I'm gonna start this one immediately, because I need to read 80 more pages to reach my daily goal. So we're gonna go right into this. Like, we're reading Hand on the Wall. These are my annotation tabs, and then these are the markers that I picked out. I have a green, an orange, and a red, and obviously they match the book very well. And the annotation tabs are just the standard, like, suspense, clues, predictions, and what I think is foreshadowing. I don't know how much foreshadowing I think is going to be in this book, since it's the last one. I feel like we've already got so much of the foreshadowing. This is just going to be more like things getting actually revealed. But I'm a little scared because I am really attached to some of the characters, and if they die, I'm gonna be very upset. It's not even Stevie. I'm not even attached to Stevie, but the author, the one who like writes books, I'm very attached to him because he's like, I don't really like humans. I like dragons. So I write books about dragons because they're better than humans, and I can totally understand that. And I just really like him. And if anything happens to him, I'm gonna be devastated. But we're going to go right into this. I'm going to read 80 pages of this, and I'll come back and to update you guys when I get to 50% of this book, which I'm hoping will be tomorrow. And then I'm hoping that I'll be finished before Sunday. And it is a Friday, so I'm hoping to finish this off by this weekend so we can move on. But so far, so good. I feel like this second one had a lot of clues that I was picking up on, and the main character was also picking up on them in her own way. And I feel like we were like detectiving it up together, and it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this one, and it was really fast. It had a nice pace of like getting info from the past while also staying in the present. No criticisms this time, really. It's July 19th, and I just got 50% into A Hand on the Wall. This is interesting. Things are going down, and I think I'm understanding, but I'm really not sure. And I also feel like the characters are being a little stupid again, because there's a really bad snowstorm happening, and they decide to stay on campus or at the academy during the snowstorm so that they can investigate something. And I think that is such a dumb decision because there's obviously someone after them. Like, someone's killing people, someone's doing these accidents, because there was another accident in this book where also I don't know if I said it, but the aunt is dead. The like her professor is dead, and now her nephew is living on the academy with them, which is fine. I don't think he's suspicious or anything. But there was another accident because Jane Lee, John Lee, I don't actually know how to say her name. She had a project that she was working on, like a machine, and she had tested it a bunch of times. But when she went to go show everyone, like show like 30 kids, it malfunctioned and broke someone's arm. Um, and we have no idea how it happened, but obviously someone is after them or messing with them. And I don't think it was a smart decision to stay on a campus when everyone else is left, except for these people and like a couple of people. I feel like people are gonna die or something bad's really gonna happen soon. It's gonna be interesting. But this one feels less of a mystery again. Like the second book really nailed that mystery vibe to me, and this one feels kind of like teen drama more than the actual mystery because it's more like, what's David doing? I feel bad for David. I need to figure out what's going with David, and it's less so about, some other things, but the past stuff is really happening like in this book because we found out that Alice was not their kid. It was Flora and George Marsh's kid. George Marsh is the police officer that we are supposed to believe is the one who kidnapped Alice and all of them and got them killed. And he even mentions in one of the points, he's like, oh my god, when he finds out that that was his kid, because he didn't know it was his kid until after they already got kidnapped, he gets told that it was his kid, and he's like, oh my god, I got my own daughter kidnapped, and I need to get her found. So right now, in this part of the book, we're jumping back and forth between present time and past time. The past time currently is George Marsh trying to figure out where Alice is, and we just got told that the kidnappers couldn't kill her because she was a kid, and they didn't feel right about that, so they took her to a cabin in the woods to give her to a family that was going to like take care of her pretty much because they lied and said that she was like their niece in a bachelorette. So she's apparently like in a cabin in the mountains or whatever, and but they don't remember what the cabin is, and I'm like, she's probably dead. But I have a couple theories going on in my head. I think either Alice is dead and George doesn't want to tell them because he just has so much shame about the situation that he just doesn't want the truth to ever come out. Like he wants to stay hidden so that he can kind of avoid the blame of everything, and that's why he didn't tell Albert where she was because he just wants the information to die with him. Or Alice was actually alive and he hid her away so that he could keep her as his daughter because he knew that if he took her back to that family, that would be their daughter again and he would never get to have a relationship with her. But if he hid her away, he could have a relationship with her, and she probably like did get found, and she probably is dead definitely now because it's been God so long, almost 100 years. She's definitely dead now. But now there's a whole point about how like if she ever returned that she's gonna get a bunch of money, but if she doesn't return, the school gets it, and now we're figuring out what that's all about, and maybe that's why the school is renovating things, and there's a bunch of different things happening. There's a bunch of different like moments happening, and I'm waiting for them to all connect. Obviously I still have like over 200 pages of the book, but not as good as the second one, but better than the first one still. The first one was a shit show. It was just a lot of a bunch of like teen drama. It was like messy and stupid and immature and childish, and this one just needs more of that mystery vibe. So I'm hoping very soon, now that they're in the snowstorm, the mystery is about to really kick its head up because they're pretty much alone. It's like the group of them. It's David and all the other main characters, and then like Pix, and then they said the maintenance guy and one of the other professors, and that's it. And when Steve went to bed, she said she didn't see it, but it put it in the book that there was someone behind a tree watching at her window. So there's definitely someone. There's someone there, definitely someone there. But I'm wondering what they're gonna do, and if someone might die again. And I really hope it's not Nate because I really like Nate. But yeah, this is my 50% spot. I should be finishing this tomorrow, definitely, and I'll be back to tell you my final thoughts and my review and my rating. But that's it. All I can give you for now. Bye bye. Okay, hi. It is July 20th, and I just finished the third book, The Hand on the Wall, of the Truly Devious series. And I have very conflicting thoughts about this book. Because the 1936 stuff I really, really liked. The present day stuff I don't think adds up. And now that I'm finished with the book, I'm gonna run you through what's happening because pretty much this book is two mysteries in one. You're trying to solve one mystery while another mystery is playing out in that moment. And I did like the premise of that. I think that's very interesting. But I think the 1936 part was written and planned out way better versus the present day stuff. So I was checking something because this is on me. When I was reading this book, we find out that if Alice is found or her body is found before her 90th birthday, whoever finds her gets the money. The whole time that I was reading it, I thought it said 19th, and I was like, that makes no sense at all. Girl should be like almost 100. And I kept reading it as 19 over and over and over again. And I was taking a shower earlier and I was like, wait a second, I think it said 90th. And that makes it make way more sense than what I was thinking. But yeah, so I'm going to run you through both mysteries just real fast. Since this is the spoilers vlog, let me just run you through how I understand these events. And then once I do that, I'll get into my review. I think it's important that I tell you what I understand so that I can give you the review. Okay, so George Marsh gets into the gambling debt, but he doesn't want to ask his friend Albert, the rich guy, for money because he feels shame or didn't want to be pitied. So he decides he wants to kidnap the wife to get money back, but he doesn't want it to be him specifically. So he hires these kidnappers to kidnap Iris, and then they'll come back at the end of the day, get their money, he gets his wife back, no one's a loser, he'll be out of debt, and it was supposed to be like a really easy fake kidnapping pretty much. But it goes wrong. When Iris leaves that day, she brings Alice with her, so they have to kidnap the wife and the kid. And the kidnappers realize that once they have both people, that they could actually get more money. They're only being offered like, I don't know, like 500,000, and they're like, we could get $1 million. I don't remember the exact amounts of money, but they were like, we can get $1 million from this guy. Like, he's so rich, and if he wants his wife and his kid back, surely he'll give us the money back. So when George Marsh comes to collect them from this kidnapping, they refuse to give him back. They're like, nope, we want more money. So they beat George up to send him back, and the kidnapping goes even more wrong because Iris fights back and gets killed. And then they're like, well, we can't kill Alice because she's literally a child. She's like 4 years old, and we're not those kinds of people. So they decide to take Alice to a cabin in the mountains and says that they're going to be back by the end of the week. They don't come back at the end of the week. They're there for quite some time. So this whole time, you know, her dad, who we think is her dad, is like all freaked out because the wife is found. Dottie, the other kid that was killed, they have been found, but Alice has never been found at this time point. So George Marsh is investigating where Alice might be because he feels like it's his duty to make it right. But then he also finds out that Alice wasn't even their kid. Like the Iris and Albert, it's actually his kid because he had sex with the Flora, and she never told me it was her baby until after Alice was already kidnapped. So once Alice was kidnapped, she's like, by the way, that's your kid. And he's like, well, shit. Now I feel even worse because I just kidnapped my own daughter, and now I can't get her back, and now I need to get her back. So he spends like months trying to figure out where they took Alice, if they killed Alice, and he finally tracks down the people that did it. And they tell him, oh yeah, we didn't kill Alice, like we took her to the cabin in the mountain, I'll take you there. They go there, and the people at the cabin was like, you should have came back after a week. You only paid us for a week. And Alice is dead. She died from measles or something like that. And I don't think that she did. I think they did something to her. I don't know. I got weird vibes from that family because they were like, we couldn't call for a doctor because after we knew who she was, there was nothing that we could do to help her. So they pretty much just let a kid die. And was like, you should have came back. You should have came back because it was too late. Like, you said a week and she died 2 weeks ago. So they essentially, like, I think something fishy happened there, but it's not dived into. All we know is that George ends up killing them for it. And he takes Alice's body back and he buries her at the school and doesn't tell Albert or anyone really that he buried her. And we find out that later on, after the lake is drained and the tunnel is being filled, that he decides that he's just going to go he buries Alice in that tunnel, and Leo, the artist, catches him and confronts him, and he gives this whole story about how the hope of Alice being alive is the only thing keeping Albert alive. So if we let him keep that hope, then we'll keep him alive. So they decide not to tell him because of that. They're like, oh, well, we know that she's dead, and we're just gonna keep it a secret that she's dead because he has nothing else to live for if she's dead. So they let this poor man just go like a whole year thinking that his daughter might be out there. But in April, I think it was, of the next year, he figures out that George Morse is the one that killed his daughter. Because he doesn't know that George was the father. He doesn't know that. He doesn't even know that when later on when the ship explodes. He doesn't know that at all. He dies not knowing that George is the father. So he confronts him, being like, he takes him out in the boat, and he's like, I'm attached to dynamite or whatever, and if you don't answer my questions, I'll blow this ship up. And he's like, where is Alice? I know you know where Alice is. I know what you did. I know what you did to her. And George is like, I'm not gonna tell you. Which I still don't understand truly why he didn't tell her. Like, I don't understand why he didn't tell him. Like, George ends up, like, blowing the ship up anyways. So, in either scenario, he's either gonna die from Albert, go to jail, or die from himself. And he refused to tell Albert. And I'm still confused about that. Like, I thought maybe it would be revealed because we did get some, like, past POVs from George. And I was like, surely he'll bring up why he just didn't. Because we do know why he didn't tell her. We do know why he didn't tell him for that year, because he wanted him to be able to live. But if he planned on killing him and Albert on that ship, I don't know why he couldn't just confess and be like, yeah, I buried her at the school because I found her after our measles outbreak. Like, he takes it with the grave, takes that information to the grave, and I don't understand why. That was like the one part of the 1936 stuff that I don't understand, is why he just wouldn't tell him, because they were gonna die either way. Either Albert was gonna kill them, or, you know, George was gonna kill them. And it's really tragic that everyone involved, like, you know, the missing people were all just dead. And we do get some other information from the 1936 chapters, like that Iris was on cocaine, and that Leo, the artist, actually pretty much paints where Alice's body is. He makes a portrait of the family, and he has like a moonbeam around the dome pointing down to where Alice's body is. And we find that out at the very end of the present day mystery, which I'm about to get into in a second. But we also get like chapters from other kids that were going to school at the time, and they all have a point in this game. This whole book is like, it all added up. And it was beautiful, like the way that it all added up. It was very like, like came all together, the 1936 stuff. I don't think the present day stuff came out at all. So obviously we find out, like in the present day stuff, that someone's been killing people to keep the truth hidden. I thought that it was Edward, like, you know, David's dad. I thought it was him and his dad doing all this, because I was like, they're so suspicious, they're bad people, and because Edward was so involved with that school, I was like, maybe he's involved in the school to keep it a secret because he knows something, or he was connected to it somehow, or maybe he was wanting the money to collect the body, or. And that's why I was so convinced that it was David or David's dad or something like that. It ends up being a professor, like Professor Charles. And I was like, that makes no sense whatsoever to me at all. Like, we find out that what happened was, when they opened up that tunnel, when they were in that tunnel, you know, they found the trunk that had Alice's body in it. And the workers brought it to Charles, not knowing what was in it. And it was Alice's body. When he saw that it was Alice's body, he was like, oh my god, I'm going to keep this, and I'm going to use it to get the money. But the thing about the money was, you couldn't get it as a faculty worker. It had to be someone that wasn't a part of the school. So he pretty much hired that professor that was the advisor for Stevie, and he was going to have her collect the money, and they were going to split it. But something happened there, so he killed her and was going to kill her nephew as well. And he apparently killed Hayes and Ellie because they were getting too close to the truth, or already knew the truth, and he was like suspicious and paranoid about it all. I really don't know why their deaths were necessary, actually. I simply don't understand how that connects to him and why he would have done those things. But essentially, he couldn't collect the money himself, so he needed to get someone else involved to collect it for him. And that was why he did all this stuff, so that he could collect the money, because after, like, you know, time, you know, money, old money has more value now. So essentially, like, that, however many money they put back was like worth like $70 million now, and he's like, I could use so much for that. And Stevie figures it out, and she brings them all in there and confronts them, and before he can get like justice, he pretty much just kills himself. He jumps down a secret passageway that's blocked off and like dies from the head blunt. That's crazy. Like, I don't understand. Like, it was not obvious that it was him at all. Like, you're telling me that he killed 3 people over $70 million when the school was going to get it anyway. So the school would have gotten it and he could have made the school better. So he just wanted that $70 million for his own being, like his own personal desires. But he killed 3 people to make that happen and was going to kill the nephew as well. I just feel like that makes no sense. Like, that's not really much of a motive, in my opinion. Not a good one at all. And I just feel like in a good thriller book, there's some clues leading you up to who's revealed. It being that professor makes no sense. There was no clues that it was him in the other books at all, nor in this one until like the last maybe 4 chapters. And then all of a sudden it was just, oh, Professor Charles is super suspicious. And I'm like, where did this come from? And I don't mind being surprised, but I do feel like if you've laid down clues and stuff and then at the last minute it's just something completely different, I just don't like that. And I just feel like the 1936 stuff was so connected and so wrote very well that you were very suspicious of George and you knew something happened that wasn't like, you were suspicious of the entire situation. Like, even when information didn't get, revealed right away, you were still suspicious of the right people. In the present day stuff, I feel like I wasn't suspicious of Professor Charles at all. And maybe that's the point, is it's always people that you don't expect, but I also just feel like it's a 3 books, like, it was 3 books. Definitely some clues about Charles could have been added to make you even a little bit suspicious of him. I don't know. I just don't think it adds up to me in my brain, and I don't like it as much as the second book, but I like it more than the first book, so I'm gonna give it a 4.25. And I just wish that maybe David's dad would have been the person that was doing all of this, because he does have a motive. The motive is he's a bad person. The motive is a bad person. He's a very bad person. And I could see him killing people for money. Like, if he found out about the paperwork saying that if you find her remains, I could see him doing all this. Like, he has CV go back to the school to investigate the mystery to find it, but then he claims the body as his own, and anyone that gets in his way, he kills. That would have made way more sense than the Professor Charles. Like, Professor Charles, what? Like, he's never perceived as being a bad guy at all. Like, never in the whole 3 books are you ever suspicious of this man. But meanwhile, Edward King is just a bad person all around. He's racist, he's mean to his son, he's doing blackmailing stuff, and I think it would have made more sense for it to have been Edward King or David or like even like Larry the security guy. I mean, because Larry the security guy was being a little suspicious at time, in my opinion. Like, he was always just in the wrong place at the wrong time. But like, Charles was like never around. His name is Charles, right? I hope I've been calling him the right name. I just think that it would have made more sense having a different ending, because the 1936 stuff was so good. So good. I think that all makes sense. That all connects well. Even like the things that like weren't a big deal, like what we learned about like Leo painting where Alice's body was found. Like, at the time we didn't know what that was, but now that we know that's where Alice's body was, that was a great like hint back to that. I can't think of her name, Frances and Edward, their love story played a part into it, because they put the dynamite that was down in the tunnel that Stevie and David had to use to break out. Like, that stuff was connected. It was done very well. I just think the last 3 chapters, I'm like, where the hell did this come from? Was I reading the right books? Like, I don't, and I think this makes me think that I won't like the other books, because I did go and look them up, and book 4 starts a new mystery where pretty much Stevie gets hired to investigate other crimes. So like the 4th one is like a campsite. Like, she has to go to a campsite and investigate it, but she has to bring her friends, so it's just like a summer camp mystery. And then like the 5th book's a new mystery, and the 6th book's a new mystery. So it's pretty much just the other books are like Stevie doing more mysteries. And I don't think that if I don't like the way this one went, I don't think I'm gonna like the way the other ones went. Just seeing how the author wrote this one. So I don't think I'm gonna ever read the other ones. Maybe I'll be swayed, or if like someone else I know reads them and likes them. But I did check on Storygraph, and 2 of my friends have read them and gave them 2 stars. So apparently they're not as liked as the first 3 books. And maybe not even needed. Like, why? And I know there's a 6th book coming out, I think. I think that's what I saw. But I don't know. This is just my long rant. This is my long tangent about what happened and how I feel about what happened. And I don't know. And I also don't even like David, and I don't even like that she ended up with David. I wish she would have ended up with like Nate or something. Or Hunter. I thought that she was going to end up with Hunter, honestly. Like they had him flirting with her a little bit, but he ended up with the Germatine. I don't even know how to say her name. And I was a little floored, and I was like, "What the heck?" And I don't know. I was gonna say no one else died in this last book, but the killer did. So I can't, I don't know. This is my mug that I'm using today. Oh, oh, it's a little cowboy hat, but I don't know. It's not like the worst thriller that I've ever read, but especially for a YA, it's just like could have been better. Could have been better if they changed the ending. Maybe I'll write my own ending. But this is it for the Truly Devious vlog. I hope you've liked this video. You can let me know if you've read these books and how you feel about them. Does it add up for you? Did you think it added up? Did you like the ending? If you haven't read this series, I don't know why you'd be watching this video because I just spoiled the entire thing for you. But like it's a book. It's a book series. I think that's all I have to say. So this is it for this vlog. And you'll hear me talk about this some more in the monthly wrap-up, but not nearly in this long of a format. Bye, guys. I will see you in the next video.